purchase price is visible, but what's hidden underneath it is the ownership cost. This is the financial exposure ranking of the mid-size SUV segment in India. Suppose you and your friend buy the same SUV, but the gearbox you choose determines your long-term financial exposure. Mechanical architecture is directly proportional to the exposure and financial risk, and city usage amplifies the stress on this very mechanical architecture. To understand this properly, we need to first define what financial risk actually means. Financial risk in car ownership is not random. It follows a specific pattern and it depends on the following factors. Factor number 1, engine architecture. Any engines are usually the ones with the low risk because of their simplicity compared to the turbocharged and hybrid systems who have a higher complexity and service risk. Factor number 2, torque output. A higher torque output increases the total stress on the drivetrain, that is the clutch, gearbox, drive shafts and mounts, elevating exposure under city conditions. Factor number 3, transmission type. Manual is the simplest transmission available out there. CVT and torque converter automatics are moderately risky. And finally, the DCT and advanced automatic designs have a very high financial risk. Factor number 4, cylinder count. 3-cylinder layouts have higher noise levels and vibration related stress when we compare them with 4-cylinder units, which affects long-term component wear and influences financial risk. So our ranking combines all these engineering factors qualitatively, and no single numerical formula is used here. Our assessment emphasizes mainly on the mechanics and the expected stress when in use in cities. So let's build the complexity ladder. The lowest financial exposure comes from mechanical simplicity, and the first combination that is included in this low exposure tier is the NA petrol engine with the manual transmission. And all the 5 cars that I have chosen today from this segment come with this combination, which includes the Creta, Seltos, Grand Vitara, Hyryder and Victoris. This is because minimal mechanical layers reduce the total number of pathways towards failure. The second combination that comes in the low exposure tier is the low torque CNG engines with a manual transmission. The examples here are Grand Vitara, Hyryder or Victoris with a 1.5 litre CNG engine. This is because lower torque reduces the strain on the drivetrain, as you saw in the previous slide. The third and final combination in this tier is the diesel engine with a manual gear. The examples for this are the Creta and Seltos 1.5 litre manual diesel engines. This is because diesel engines have a proven long life architecture in Indian usage conditions, beginning right from the Toyota Qualis or the Tata Sumo. All in all, the simpler mechanical architecture minimizes the long-term uncertainty with fewer control systems and more established service procedures. The next tier adds controlled complexity and starts off with a combination of NA plus CVT gearbox, which is available in both the Hyundai Creta as well as the Kia Seltos. So the smoothness and the convenience that you feel while driving introduces an extra wear and tear of the belt or the chain and also increases the overall cooling requirements. The second combination in this tier is that of the torque converter automatics that can be paired with either diesel as in the case of Creta or with petrol as in the case of a Grand Vitara or a Hyryder. These introduce a moderate complexity with higher heat generation under the city loads of heavy traffic. The third combination here is that of the turbo engine with a manual gearbox. This is only available in the Kia Seltos 1.5 litre turbo IMT variant. This gives you quite a significant performance boost, but also elevates the thermal and torque spikes, which is quite manageable with careful driving. These configurations add convenience or performance while keeping the exposure within manageable limits for a typical 5 to 8 year ownership, but under one condition: you need to maintain them proactively. When thermal stress and clutch complexity combine, the risk rises sharply, and the first combination in this elevated exposure tier is that of a turbo engine with a DCT transmission, and cars like Hyundai Creta and Kia Seltos give you this option. Now DCT stands for dual clutch automatics, which means that there will be a lot of rapid gear shifting in your traffic conditions, which will increase the heat and make the low speed traffic cycles vulnerable. The second combination here is of the high torque automatic combined with a diesel. The diesel plus AT combo gives us more than 250 Newton meters of torque, which puts a higher thermal load on the torque converter. So as the heat increases, the transmission cooling becomes a critical component in your urban start-stop conditions. The third combination in this tier is that of the strong hybrids. This is because the dual propulsion system of electric as well as petrol increase the mechanical and the electronic complexity. Since this technology is much newer, we are less aware about this. So if you are someone who wants sustained city driving and you are targeting owning a car for more than 7 years, then choosing one of these combinations might turn out to be risky. Here's the ranking summary matrix which summarizes everything we've discussed until now. You can pause and go through it here. The one thing that we've learned till now is that the architecture influences exposure more than branding. The same engine with a different gearbox can move a configuration between tiers. So here are my practical recommendations to you as a car buyer. First thing is that you need to match the gearbox to your usage. If you drive more than 60% of the time in cities, then you should prefer a NA plus MT option or the low torque automatics which have a proven cooling and service network. The second thing you need to do is to align with the ownership duration. 3 to 4 year owners can neglect the exposure. So if you are someone who plans to own a car for more than 7 years, then you should favor mechanical simplicity. Third is the service readiness. You need to verify local dealer capability to service or fix your DCT, CVT and hybrid system problems. The specialist repairs can materially increase the lifetime cost of owning the car. After all this, we have come to a strategic conclusion that no design is categorically bad or good, but every layer of complexity added is a gamble against time. To protect your long-term ownership, you don't build for performance, you build for simplicity. So you need to match your architecture with your intended ownership duration when you're buying your car. If you are planning to own it for just 3 to 4 years, then the exposure itself becomes irrelevant to you. So you need to choose based on how long you plan to own, not just how it drives today. Thank you.